Okay, it's the next day from when I cut them zebra stripes in. It's actually like about 10:30 in the morning, and all of the snow is gone off the bed of the truck. You know, sometimes I make video clips without thinking about that you wouldn't know what I was talking about. So what I'm discussing here is last shop update. I had just brought the truck in. The bed was covered with snow. I wanted to work on it, so I had cut some stripes in the snow to promote the snow to melt off of it faster, so that I would be able to get under it without water dripping off of me or dripping on me as the snow melted off. But anyways, welcome to another shop update, guys. There is a little water left over there, but and just a little bit of snow in here. And it really isn't that warm in the shop. It's 14 C or 57 degrees Fahrenheit. But yeah, just cutting them stripes helps a lot in getting rid of that snow. I mean, there is still remnants of a lot of water underneath the truck where it melted, but it hasn't evaporated up yet, but basically it's gone. Okay, so my grandson brought in this old jack. It was in rough shape. There's some of the dirt you can see on it. It was frozen dirt. He found it under a house that he's remodeling. It's a Duff Norton. Looks like it was made in Pittsburgh. Model number is 3510-C-2, and it's a 35-ton with a 5-inch rise on it. Yeah, it was really seized up, but I've got it to be able to turn. So you can turn it up and down. Now, I haven't been able to get it to go down past the spot where it was, it just went, because what I did is raised it up and then took the wire wheel to it and got all the junk off where it was rusted around it. But it's got a cog on it and so that it ratchets, but I haven't been able to free that up yet. But anyways, I just kind of thought I'd share that with you. Okay, so I'm over here to the International, and I've got the battery cover off and meter out, and what I'm going to start doing is working on this parasitic draw. Now, I haven't disconnected any of the leads yet, but I did put the meter, the amp meter across, positive and negative, and I was getting like a 6.9 amp draw. But I don't think, starting to wonder, I think I've got the charger plugged in, and I think maybe the charger is creating that. So let me turn that charger off and do the same test again, and I'll let you know what happens with it. The other thing I've been working on is that jack. I have that jack full cycle so that it goes all the way down, all the way back up again freely. I still haven't been able to get that cog loose yet, but again, it's just the first day of working on it, and I will keep after it and let you know what happens with it. Yeah, so I unplugged the charger and turned it off so that it didn't backfeed into the charger with that switch that I installed. And what it is now, it's down to 0.66 amps. So what I've got to do is research it now, figure out what the amp draw is supposed to be, what the normal amp draw would be on that thing. I think 0.66 seems high. Somebody told me that I think, if I remember right, it was supposed to be somewhere around like 3 milliamps or something. But let me check it. So let me tell you something. I'm no electrician. I don't pretend to be. I'm not an electrician. I kind of go by common sense or try and think out things logically. So that gets me in trouble with electricity sometimes. I looked up on YouTube about, looked up on the internet, not necessarily YouTube, about how to do a parasitic draw in a car or a vehicle. They said to pull the negative battery cable off of the battery and put the lead between the battery cable and the battery post. Did I do that? No, absolutely not. So I tried. I'm thinking, if there's being a draw on a battery, you can pick it up with a meter, just registering it across the positive and negative terminals. But it didn't work. So let me show you that. And again, I'm not an electrician, so I've got to go back and redo everything that I tried to do, checking it that way. Okay, so it's the following day, and what I've done is hooked the meter up, and I've still got that 6.6 milliamp draw. Now I'm not sure what the draw is supposed to be. I know that if I go and check that milliamp draw, it's for a car, it's 2. So here's the fuse box. What I did is went in there and pulled out all of the fuses, and it didn't change anything. Now I've got to say that I don't have a service manual for this truck, so I don't know whether that's the only fuse box. So that's my next step is to go through and see if I can find other fuse boxes in here. What I didn't pull out of there, though, is the relays that are in there for starter. I think they're don't remember, starter windshield wipers, I think, and turn signals, stuff like that. But let me, again, I'm just started on it, so let me explore and see what else I can find. So I came over here to the driver's side, kind of looking for a fuse box or something inside the cab. And one of the things that I kind of thought of, I didn't find anything over here, by the way. One of the things that I kind of thought of is the radio will not turn off. Now, when you turn the ignition off, the power supply should go off for the radio, so that shouldn't make a difference. But when the ignition is on, you can't turn the radio off by the button on the radio. And I'm starting to wonder if that has anything to do with it, but let me continue investigating. So apparently the way that I was doing it isn't right. Everybody had said you've got to disconnect the ground cable and put it put the leads between the cable and the ground from the meter. And I'm thinking, well, it should read it if you just cross the terminals and read the amps that are going through it. So again, when I was charging it, I was getting 6 amps, I think it was. When I took the charger off, I got 0.066 amps. So I'm assuming that's 6 milliamps. I'm not sure, tell you the truth. I'll have to research it, but how I know that I wasn't doing it right is I opened the door while it was on it so that the interior lights came on and the amperage didn't change on it. So I knew that I was doing it wrong. So I've got to start from square one again and redo it. So I've got that jack over here on the welding table, and I brought it over here because I was able to get this thing loose. Now, it's got like a ball detent in there, and I'm not sure how that works, but I did get it loose so that it would go back and forth. The problem is I can't get this thing to ratchet around the gear. So it's got a gear there that I'm assuming it's got to be keyed into the shaft. The gear has to be keyed into the shaft, and these two holding, or the things that hold the gear in place and hold that detent on it, should pivot around the shaft, and the gear would stay still, causing the pawls on this detent to ratchet on that gear. But I can't get the gear to move. I can't get these to move around the shaft. So I'm trying a couple of different things. I'm trying to loosen them up. I'm maybe taking it off the shaft if I can get it. I can't break this free from that shaft to pull this pin out. Yeah, I'll get it though. It'll come. Okay, so I had good intentions of getting a lot done this week, and it didn't turn out that way. You've seen a couple of the things that I had worked on before something went down involving my wife. As you know from the last shop update, I've had issues with my wife. Well, these issues have kind of come to a head, and she is in the hospital. Not so much for medical reasons, but for psychological reasons. So took her into the hospital. Apparently her thyroid level was off, so they've kind of corrected that, but she's in there. And I've been talking to people, and it's kind of come to the conclusion among everybody involved, my grandchildren, myself, and medical people, that she needs to go to a home. So I'm gonna have to put her in a home. I'm not putting her in a home. It would be the hospital, or actually it's at Adult Protective Services, are the ones that will be spearheading it, because it's going to be paid by Medicaid. Yes, Medicaid, not Medicare, Medicaid. So they do an evaluation on her and then figure out what the type of home that she needs to go to. So I've between the hospital and dealing with everybody involved in this issue, and there's a lot more involved in this, but I'm not going to share that with you because a lot of it is personal issues among the family. So there is a lot more involved in it, so that I've been kind of dealing with those issues, and how we're going to get her, or when we're going to get her out of the hospital and into a home. So again, the hospital has to do an evaluation before they can place her in a home, to kind of figure out what type of a home that she needs to go into. So we've got to go through that, and however long that takes, and then there's a multitude of questions that I have about medications and stuff like that. You know, we have medication set up with a pharmacy in our area where she gets all of her pharmacy, and they renew these medications every month, except for the narcotic type medications that she takes, which has to be redone by the doctor. But I have a pharmacy, so I have no idea about what the medications. Does it switch over to the home? Just a multitude of things have to be addressed. You know, she still has her driver's license. We had kind of talked her into going into the to me taking her into the DMV and just switching it from a driver's license, because I wouldn't let her drive anymore, to a picture ID. Does she still need to have that done? There's so many questions, so many. But anyways, we're dealing with it, and not a lot of shop time is getting done. So just bear with me for a while until it gets all resolved, and we can get this thing put in place and get used to the new routine. But I will continue making videos, and they just probably won't be as long. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment about that battery thing. Man, I'm not an electrician, so if you guys, anybody knows, is why am I getting that amperage draw across a positive and negative terminal, and why didn't it change when I opened the door and the cab lights came on? So just, if you know, leave a comment, hit that like button. Thanks for watching, guys.